Hi everyone, welcome to an extra episode of Arena Talks in the Star Trek series. Today we will talk about the documentary of Nichelle Nichols, Woman in Motion, and I do that with my guest, Sophia Cast. Well guys, let's welcome Sophia. Hello Sophia.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be part of this. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to meet you, and it was nice to talk to your husband as well as of other parts of Star Trek. So,
Oh, you're very sweet, and we get that a whole lot. We actually do. He's actually not my husband.
oh,
We are
sorry.
seeing. No, that's okay. We have formed a relationship because of Pathfinder, because of our work in it.
Mm,
So we are seeing. So we get that a lot because you can see a couple in it.
yeah.
We'll see if that ever becomes a thing in the future. We'll see.
Well, today we're going to talk about the phenomenon of Nisha Nichols, of course, and especially about her documentary, Woman in Motion.
Absolutely.
So,
It's unbelievable. Highly recommend it. I'm just going to start off with one. I'm extremely humbled to even be talking about the documentary. This is a woman who went above and beyond anything that most people, no matter, sex, creed, background, don't reach what she was able to reach. So I'm very humbled and honored that you chose me to talk to you about this. So thank you.
no problem. I was really thinking, okay, a female also loves Star Trek because, I don't know if I said that before, but I do those things because there are a lot of women who love Star Trek, but not often talk about it in a podcast. So, that's one of the reasons I made this podcast, and well, it is nice to have a fellow Trekkie, and she's a woman that I can talk to. So,
Absolutely. I love that. That's great. It's when you watch it, and I'll revert back to the documentary. When you watch it, you realize that it's really, we're all the same. We're all one people, you know,
yeah,
we're all the human race, and it really does lift you up to that level that there's not a difference between sex or, biological background or anything like that. We're all one race, and we all want to move forward, and we want that for everyone else too.
what is your first impression of this documentary?
I will tell you the first, and I recall when it came out, is I was in tears. It's actually moving. In fact, everyone I watched it with was also in tears about how powerful we can be as individuals. Any of us can do this. We can. I mean, she did have the lift of Star Trek, the original series, and she was amazing in it. But at that point, she had actually pretty much thought she was being suppressed. She wanted to do her craft, which is completely understandable. She's an extremely talented woman. And so she had decided to move away. And then when she talked with Martin Luther King, he was like, no, you don't understand the bigger picture. And once her eyes were open to that, I think we all need to try to look for the bigger picture, not just our own situation. And it really, really drove that home. And that's kind of what we try to do and what we're doing here.
Yeah, what I was finding really powerful was when she, because NASA was recruiting her for everything, and she said, "Well, I'm not going to be created in with as Nisha Nichols, actress of Uhura from Star Trek Enterprise TOS, but I will do that under my own company," and that was
Yes.
and that was so powerful.
Absolutely. That was my thought too when she did that. At that time in the United States, we were still going through the civil rights movements for what she calls her people, which is the African American, people of color, and any minority. She included all of them, and she included children too. Was
Mm,
we're all part of a bigger scheme, and she looked them in the face and said, "I'll do this." but if you don't hire people that are more diversified, I'll take you to court. And the executives at NASA came back and said, we'll go with you.
Yeah.
So that was very, very powerful, even especially considering the climate in the United States at the time that she did that. That was a very bold move on her part,
Yeah.
bringing her own company in and putting it on the forefront and saying, if you don't meet your end, I will take it further. I will take it forward. I will take it to Congress, which is what, here that's what you have to do. And she boldly stood forward and said, I'm going to do it, but we're going to do it on my terms. And that's exactly what it needed to be. And they completely agreed. I have to also give kudos to, the people in NASA who at the time were running it
Yeah.
to say, yes, we're aware this needs to be different. And they worked on it. They, worked with her on it. It was extremely brave of her to do that at that time. If you look back in the late 60s in the United States, there was still a great civil unrest. And we were, we didn't know it at the time, but we're heading into something of a depression. And so people were getting a little bit desperate, and she just wasn't, that didn't matter to her. It mattered, like, if you're going to give me your word, you're going to stand by your word. And she stood bold, and that was really bold for a woman and very bold for a Black woman. And it's awe inspiring. It truly is.
Yeah, it is. I was really, when I must say, I have watched the documentary a few times, and also just to see, okay, what is she seeing more? Do I miss something? And every time I watched it, I see something more, and I understood her more what she means, and she became bigger and bigger and bigger to me, and that was before we were recording this. You were already saying that you have met her in real
Yes.
person.
Yes.
And what was my reaction? Oh, I am jealous now, because I would like to had to meet her as well, because I wanted to personally thanking her for listening to Martin Luther King, because
Yes.
if she didn't, where would she be after that? And would she cooperate with NASA like this? Because I think,
exactly. Not just her, but all the lives she affected.
yeah,
She was so just, people throw down the term charismatic all the time. And of course she was charismatic. And of course she was gorgeous. We can all see that. She's an absolutely beautiful woman, even into her 80s. She's a gorgeous woman.
yeah,
But she had that extra that extra part of her that changed her. And when I met her, ironically, I didn't meet her in a convention. I didn't meet her for an autograph. I happenstanced onto her on the street. Well, not really, in a restaurant. I actually got to meet her in a true environment. And she was absolutely the human being that you see on these documentaries. She truly is just a very pure person. And it was really an uplifting experience for me.
yeah, I can imagine that. But she is also like a lot of people say, like inspiration for them. But I think also, in one way, she is a little bit of a revolutionary, and not only because she had that close bond to Gene Roddenberry that he will influence her, but she herself is this big of a person that she would say, especially in that time period, screw it, here I am, and you can't look away from me, because here I am.
Exactly. Yes, she absolutely was all. And to some degree, we also want to give a lot to Gene Roddenberry, because not only did he write all of the Star Trek series and start all of everything that we all are now, but he was aware that there had to be an absolute diversity, and went with it despite the networks going against it and trying to pull it back and all of the. I mean, they even talk about that in the documentary, that Nichelle was getting really tired of saying the same thing again and again
Yeah.
because they kept pulling back her lines, revision after revision after revision. And she was like, "This is not. I don't. This is not my craft. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do what I was intended to do." And she truly did live her life to the fullest that she could.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all hope for. That's yeah. She's. Would you like to hear about when I met her? It's kind of an
Yeah,
interesting story.
sure. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
sure.
So in 2014, we were at Comic Palooza, and I have a daughter, and I had taken her because she had a certain interest that actually wasn't Star Trek. And I had brought my sister and nephew with me as well. And my nephew was very young. He was not even 4. He was about 3.5 years old. And he's very cute kid. He's got the little dimple. And he's just an adorable kid. His light shines. And we went to the Comic Palooza, and so he could meet Elmo, which was there, the Sesame Street character. And then we went to lunch at this restaurant, and we're sitting at this restaurant, and many times in the past we had people make comments about how cute he was and how they wanted him and how funny. They're always joking. It was always sarcastic at best. And this woman walks up to our table and says, "Well, I'll just take this one. He's perfect. He's beautiful." And of course, I laughed because we're used to that. That had happened to us many times. And I looked over, and it was Nichelle Nichols was asking for my nephew, which was, of course, she wasn't asking for my nephew, but she wanted to hug him. She wanted to hold him. So she really was a true, she loved children. She loved minorities. She saw everybody as one. I
Mm.
really think she did. And so my sister, who actually is the biggest Nichelle Nichols fan you'll ever meet, which I've always adored Nichelle Nichols, but my sister was really into her, who is my nephew's mother, couldn't even speak. She was absolutely starstruck by this. And of course, my nephew, being young, didn't know what was going on, did not know who she was, and he wasn't having any of this. He was scared. And I said, "You know what? This is your biggest fan." And I pointed to my sister. "Can we please get a picture with her?" And she said, "Yes, of course we can." And she got a picture. If you'd like, I'll send you the picture if you'd like to share it with your fans. It's wonderful. We're just in a restaurant but this is the true person that she was. She really was
Mm.
just a human being who moved ahead as far as she could. She took every opportunity she had and made it into the best it could be.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful, and our family shares it all the time. We can't believe we ran into Nichelle Nichols at a restaurant. I'm
um.
sorry, I should tell you that Comic Palooza is in Houston, Texas. I don't know if you need that but that's where we were. She was speaking there. She was doing an engagement there, and she happened to come into the same restaurant we were at.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
it was wonderful. It was. It's truly a memory we'll all carry for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I think everyone will be starstruck when they see her. She is so
Yeah.
famous.
Well, there was just no denying that it was her. When I turned around, when I looked up, she was standing at the end of our table. When I looked up, there was no question in my mind exactly who I was looking at. And she would have been in her 70s. I didn't calculate her age at that point, but she would have been in her 70s. But there was no denying it was Nichelle
Hmm.
Nichols, because she always carried herself as such a lady and such a, you know, an open person, humanitarian. She just really was. And it was absolute joy in my life. It's a great story that I get to carry with me the rest of my life.
I can imagine that, yeah. So, there is one thing I think that my listeners need to know also about this documentary. It is not only uh, based on her role in Star Trek, it is much more than that. And when I was watching it a couple of times, I was thinking, how bold and how grand has she have to be to just overwhelm those men at NASA who are always joking around about women in space. Of, okay, here I am, you're going to listen to me, we do it my way or none of that all.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was part of, the only word I can come up with was her own charisma. But that was part of who she was. It wasn't okay for her to just stand back and take it, which a lot of us do. I'm sure, I'm positive in my life I've done that too. It was like, okay, I'll just, it's fine. But she wasn't. She was, no, this can be better for all of us. And if you're thinking about what, when your listeners are looking at what we're talking about with this documentary, absolutely recommend it, because you and I can't put in words what she was able to do.
Yeah.
In especially in the short amount of time she did as a single mom. And it was not Star Trek. It was moving people forward, not
Yeah.
just African American people, not just women. It was
Everyone.
moving people forward. It was moving. She moved everyone forward.
Yeah,
So
because also,
absolutely watch the documentary, and you'll understand that that she, if she could do that, then we all can do that.
yeah, I think if we look at ourselves and not going to, and that's a little bit weird that I'm saying this, but don't live the life that uh, everybody of society think you need to live,
Yes.
and go your own way and get your own things, do the things that you are good at, then we are, and like I always said that are all individuals, we are all something good at. That is what we need to do. We don't need to have a social job to pay our bills in a way. But
Oh
yeah,
no, I absolutely agree. And what I agree with a lot in the documentary, and you can see it in the documentary, when she was talking to Duke Ellington, she learned to be yourself.
yeah,
And that is the best thing you can do, is learn to be yourself. You know, there's, especially in our communities, we call them cosplays, we call them, like, Pathfinder is a what I'm involved with. It's kind of an acting gig. It's kind of a digital comic book thing. And you can get that level of trepidation that, like, oh, everybody's going to judge me. They're going to think that, no, it's doing what makes your heart swell, what makes it for you. And honestly, most people that I have encountered, their heart swells when they can help others, and that's what we try to do. And that's what, they can be a part of something bigger without being judged by it, without being, and I'm not trying to push Pathfinder at all, but I think in general, that's what Nichelle Nichols was pushing, was be the best you can be, even if you think you can't, even if you think there's walls in front of you. Like, all those people that she talks about that would not apply for the astronaut program was because they thought they would not get they wouldn't get hired, so it wasn't worth the trouble to do
mm-hmm.
it. But no, her message was, is, yes, we have open minds, we can make this happen. And then they did get in, and the program took off, and and it was an amazing thing to do. But that was her entire message, was do the best you can for yourself, and it will move humanity forward if you do that. If you're not afraid, just do it. That's
I
what, and I remember, as being a kid, seeing those commercials on, where she would come on and say, NASA's waiting for you. And it was not aimed at at people of color. It was aimed at everyone. It was aimed
yeah,
at, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have the skill set, you need to apply, because you're needed. It doesn't have to come through the military. You don't have to go. No, if you have something to offer, then offer it.
yeah, and I would also think that NASA saw that how much you can reach with this, and also not only her as her playing Uhura, but just as the great woman she is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And such a the energy level it would have taken for her to do everything that she did in that short time frame that she did it. It really wasn't a long time that she had to promote this, and the applications and the acceptance into the program skyrocketed, because just exhausted herself going from one to another. And she did not just limit it to women, and she didn't limit it to people of color. It was anybody you can do, apply, just do it. Just move forward, be your best person, show them what you can do. And, you know, kudos to them. NASA responded to it and did hire them. Yeah, brought it up, and I really think it moved the entire, not just the space program, but in general the whole civil rights movement. We had in the United States, I don't know how much studying you've done with it, we had been going through even women's suffrages for decades before that, and even that moved forward because of her work.
Yeah.
Because she said enough is enough, and she didn't take it on with, you know, what do we call it? Spit and vinegar over here. We call, you know, you catch more flies with honey. And she just did exactly what needed to be done to tell people, you are a person, you have this level of intelligence, you have this knowledge, just try, and we will listen, you know. And that really changed everything for the whole program. I believe it really did. And clearly it did.
What I also was what I really liked from this documentary is that we saw different parts of her life and how she coped with it. And what I always loved about her is that she can use her words so powerful. And I think from young till old, people are admiring her just what she is telling you.
Yep, absolutely. She clearly was an intelligent woman. We all know that. We knew that before. You know, we've known that for many years. But she was also extremely articulate, and she had that investigator's mind.
Yeah.
That she wouldn't. She could click on something quicker than most people could.
Yeah.
So she definitely had a higher, I don't know that she was ever tested for intelligence level, but I have to think it had to be quite high, because she was able to deduce things from information that she was getting and use it towards everyone's advantage. She didn't use it to her advantage. She used it for everyone's advantage. You don't think?
Yeah, I do. It's like I said, I really had to watch the documentary a few times to connect. Well, connect is a big word, but I mean, like, she has so much to say. It's really how she's talking about things. It's just more like a philosopher, and
yes. I'm sorry.
She would be like the queen of it all, to guide us of, like, be equal and understand each other. And yeah, there is more in life than just pointing fingers to each other.
Oh, absolutely. And even with that, she was willing to put herself in. She would not put you in a situation that she wasn't willing to do. She went through astronaut training because she's not going to promote people and say, you need to go do this, but I'm not going to do it. That's too scary. So she absolutely would put her in the same situation that she was asking other people to do. And that's an extremely selfless thing to do.
I was really surprised that she
didn't have to do that. Exactly. Yeah. I was too. Well, I mean, I saw it originally, and I knew that she had done some of the astronaut training, but when you, like you said, every time you watch it, there's something new in it. And it's, she actually went through a lot of the astronaut training. So she didn't ask anybody to do anything that she didn't already do. Except obviously go on the shuttle, which she could not do, but she went as far as you could go.
Yeah. And what I really liked about her is that she wouldn't back off to do other things and meeting people and telling them right in their face, okay, this and this and this, and do what you need to do, and don't, yeah, be yourself, be your strong self. And she was so, what I loved about her is that she was so strong in what she believed in, and she could move you in as a such a big way that later in life you could only look back and say, oh wow, she is so grand in, I don't want to say of being the grandmother of grandmothers, but I think she has a lot of weight in what she is saying to people. And for example, also like, we know her as best as Uhura from Star Trek, but she,
Right.
what I see in that NASA program, that wasn't, that was just only 1% of all what she said. Okay, I'm Nichelle Nichols, I played Uhura in Star Trek. That was the only thing she actually said about it, and the rest was totally, but totally about NASA and the program and to reach people.
Right, to diversify the program, because up until that point, as you know, they're you're middle aged to a little bit older white males. No one else was allowed
Yeah.
in, and she's like, but there are so many others that are being
Hmm.
left behind.
Yeah.
And when she became involved with that program, she really changed how people thought. And I think, and I do believe she didn't just change NASA. It
No.
That was the
Let's
stepping
go
stone to
further.
change the thinking. Exactly. Yes, to change it so much further. Hey, if our biggest scientific space program is opening our mind to this, how do we not all on the lower levels open our mind to these are human beings. These are all exactly the same as we are. And I really think she pushed a lot forward, not just for NASA, but
Hmm.
also for, you know, just all of the minorities in general.
Well, I do think it's also not only the majority. I think for everyone on the world who still were thinking like black and white, I think, and that's why I wanted to thank her, because I am half European, half Asian, and her being this a big role model for like everyone, and she was the one who actually let you think differently. That's a huge thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not just think differently, she vocalized differently. And that caused people to pause. It caused them to stop and go, wait, we actually have something to hear here. And so they would listen to it and hear it. And so I always put it to like the closed mind gates of, this is how things are, this is how they're going to be. She
Mm-hmm.
managed to get a crack in the gate. And once the gate is cracked open, these new ideas come in, and eventually it swings open, and we do end up with what we hope is the clearly Star Trek is not a utopia. It isn't,
Mm.
because you're traveling. We don't know what's out there. And I'm not going to say whether or not I believe there's aliens, but when you get out there, it's a whole different, you realize how small we are.
Mm-hmm.
We are really just one people. And I think she was able to open that gate and go, yeah, maybe we are just one people, and we need to move forward as a group, as this people, as this the human race. We move forward with that instead of leaving anyone behind who, quite frankly, has a lot to offer, to give us, to help us move that forward. And I feel like that's what she did.
Oh, yes, she did. It was. That's why what I always say about her. She is more grander than just Uhura. And
Absolutely.
with this documentary, guys, you see how big she truly is.
Mm-hmm.
And her voice is so loud that you have to listen. And
Absolutely. And she's, it was a stroke of luck, stroke of genius on Roddenberry's part, whatever you like, that she was put in that role, but she was the right person to be put in that role. She didn't just do the role and move on like so many
mm,
other actors have done. She took it and turned it into, okay, she wasn't Uhura at NASA. That's not who
yeah,
she was.
yeah,
But that got her in the door to make these statements. And she was such an intelligent person that she was able to make statements that people listened to. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think she was, you know, I'll go with the cliche, larger than life. But
mm.
I don't think she thought she was larger than life,
No, she
because she was
didn't.
still a very humble woman, very in touch with, fans or whatever. And in my own personal experience with the what I told you before, this was a woman who saw a beautiful child and was playing with a child. This is a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful woman. This is so much bigger than, yes, she is a forefront and she is a warrior in the best way any of us could hope
Yes,
for. She
she
moved
is
women's
truly a
rights so
warrior.
far forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She's who I wish I could be. I want to be. And it's that's what we try to convey even in what we're doing, which we'll talk about later if you'd like to, is that we're all one. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. If you're the right forefront person, then that's good, and that's all we need. We don't It doesn't need any of that. And that's kind of what I feel like she lived by was, we all have our roles, and she was pushing those roles forward. Be who you are. Be that role.
Yeah, indeed. And I was wondering when I was watching the documentary as well. Um, well, wondering is a big word, I think, but she has her way of. Well, no. The what I was wondering, what must all those men thinking when she opened the doors, roared, and said, "Here I am," and you now going
Listen
to
to
listen to
me.
the
Yes.
queen.
Yes, she did. She definitely did that. Listen to me. Yeah. What were those men thinking? Well, I think at that time, it had already, it was the late 60s, early 70s, but there was already an understanding that there was an uneasiness with the
mm,
situation that it was. And they also knew, well, NASA in particular, knew that they needed more candidates. And they were getting barely what they could get from the pool that they had pigeonholed themselves into. Do you understand the term pigeonholed? They
mm,
had they had set themselves up to only have previous military, previous, pilots. That's all we can do. But they didn't have to. They weren't under that rule. They didn't have to do that. And she figured that out. She's like, wait a
mm.
minute. If you don't take, and you can see that in the documentary, she does talk about that, well, if they don't go through the military and they don't get selected, can we take the rest? And they're like, yes, you can. And that's exactly how they got everyone in that could not get into the military, that could not do, but they still had the intelligence, they still had the physical ability to do it. She found that loophole and said, why can't we have civilians? Why Let's have people who can do it, but for whatever reason can't get into the military. And that actually ended up being the paramount, the touchstone for the beginning of bringing those people into NASA, which pushed them all forward. Her touches on our space program and just in general in the United States, our civil rights can't be measured. They're huge.
It
You
is.
understand what you?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I think that's the reason. One of the reasons that I would have thanked her for listening to Martin Luther King is that she opened so many doors for so many minorities, and
Well,
Only,
yes, exactly. Uh-huh.
only that.
That and her conversations with Duke Ellington because I'm not discounting clearly what the conversation she had with Martin Luther King was paramount in her changing her direction, but she already had that as well from when she was working, and you can see it in the documentary, and I had heard that before, that when she was working for Duke Ellington, he had told her, you do what you do best.
Yeah,
That's what we do best, is what we can do best. Use your skills, not someone else's. Don't mimic someone else's.
no. I really loved the part that she actually was a singer of Doug Ellington, because I have been grown up with jazz. My parents always loved listen to jazz, and I played jazz. So
And it's beautiful. Oh, what do you play?
I have long played the flute, but I also play the saxophone.
Oh, wonderful. That's
So,
great.
but I also been a tap dancer, and being in combination with that, I always had those gigs with playing and tap dancing. So when I heard that she was tap dancing and was a singer of Duke Ellington, I was thinking, wow, I didn't know that. That must be
Yeah.
very cool for her.
Absolutely. I'm sure that was a real breakthrough for her, from going from theater, which she was already doing very
Hmm.
well at, to having being hired by that, and then being thrown into being the lead singer there. She just had one opportunity after another, which, things fall into place, but it was also her personality that allowed that to happen, that they knew they could count on her, that she would move forward.
I
And
love her singing voice. I love
oh my
his
goodness.
guys.
Yes.
If you are watching the documentary, you have you must watch it till the titling is
Credits
coming.
at
The
the
credits are
end.
coming,
They're
and after
beautiful.
that, she is going to sing. And oh my god, wow!
It's beautiful. And at the end of it, while they're running the credits, when she's singing "Fly Me to the" spoiler, she's singing "Fly Me to the Moon." It's better than I've ever heard it. It's
Yes.
absolutely
Oh
beautiful, and
yes.
she's clearly, I don't know what year they recorded that, but she's clearly 60s or 70s, and it's as beautiful as it can be, even in
Yeah.
her later years. She was just an amazing talent. She even
Yeah.
does in the please watch the documentary, because you can hear in the documentary she does the full tone of what her voice can do. She
Yeah.
can
Oh
go
my god.
extremely high soprano and very low, and
Oh
it's
my
just
god.
awe-inspiring. No one can do Who can do that? No one. But she can. It was
It's
amazing.
it was amazing, and that's why I hope that she's still going, because I thought she also did recording some of those songs with famous jazz people, but she has such a beautiful, warm voice, and oh my god, guys, you really need to listen to this. This is so beautiful. It's like, it would be fun, and I have no idea if she have done this, but I know a lot of Star Trek fans know the Rat Pack from Star Trek.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I was wondering just now what she has performed with them. That would be amazing.
I don't know of anything in particular. I'm now intrigued, and I will be looking that up. I don't know of anything in particular that she did specifically with any of them. They're all very talented people.
Yes,
The majority of them
absolutely.
had a secondary talent that they could
Yeah.
bring to the table. I don't know. That's intriguing. I had not ever. Thank you. I hadn't thought of that. I'll have to look that one up.
Well, it is because when I watched the documentary about DS9, and I can't remember his name now, but he played Ram. He started the whole documentary with singing the song, and he wrote this. And I was thinking, what? That is so good. And at the end of the
Yeah.
documentary, you see also them four singing, and that was so fun. It's a great song, and in one way, I hope that they recorded it, because it's amazing, and I'm always when there was the Star Trek Las Vegas and the Star Trek cruise where they always go to and have a performing night. I was always saying to my friends who are going, please make videos, please tell me how to go. I would really love them, see them live.
Yeah, I think Rom was Max. I can't.
Yeah, what's his name? I can't remember now.
Krogi. I can't recall. I don't recall, but I do know who you're talking about. I did not know he had a singing voice, so I'll have to go look that one up.
Oh, me too. Oh my God! And it is. Let me see. It is so Rom, Quark, Garrick, and what was the other one? There was another one, but they are so good. And I was thinking, if they're singing jazz together, and of course not even counting in with Avery Brooks, who is a jazz musician, that would be an awesome. If they only would go record a CD, just an album with only jazz songs with doing by Star Trek actors, that would be awesome.
Yes, that would be amazing. I don't know. I've never heard that they did that. I'll have to look into that. So you're talking about Armin Swimmer and Andrew Robinson?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, I had not heard that. That would be amazing if they had something that they had recorded.
Have you seen the documentary of DS9 then?
I'm going to be honest. I've seen about a fourth of it because I got called away in the middle of it, so I haven't been able to finish it.
Well, if you only want to see the Rat Pack, just the first, the intro and the credits. It's the same thing with this documentary, but
go watch the credits. Okay.
They are so good. Oh my God!
Well, I mean, if Armin is singing, I'll definitely go watch that. I didn't realize he sang at the end of it. Does he sing at the end of it?
Yes, he's singing.
Oh, I've got to go watch that. I can't believe I missed that. Okay.
The song has been written, I believe, by the one who played Rom, and it is phenomenal. I know there are other Star Trek actors who are in a band and make Star Trek geek songs about it. I know that. Yeah. But oh my God, the Star Trek Rat Pack. Oh my God, they are so good. They are so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I need to.
Yeah, Nichelle Nichols did the same, and I don't want to say I was Star Trek, but it was me really like, oh my God, that voice. She is really good.
You know, I don't want to get off topic, but have you seen some of the stuff that Robert Picardo has done? He has an amazing singing voice. Yeah. I mean, he did in Voyager. He definitely had a great singing voice, but he's done some really awesome stuff outside of Star Trek. Yeah. It's very good. It's really, go look it up. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track, but
no, it's
he's
fine.
Definitely
it's
a
fine.
Very talented person.
It's amazing how many Star Trek actors are so talented. With, of course, a lot of them have done also the theater school, etc. But it is phenomenal in how crafted they are.
Oh, absolutely. I do think, you know, with TOS, it was those little scientists. That's a little lower decks humor there, but the original series. Sorry about that. Sorry, we say that all the time now because Lower Decks did that. But they cast it based on Gene Roddenberry, what he wanted. He casted at least half of the cast, and the rest kind of just pulled what they could get. Who was available? Who can do this? And it turned out to be just this great mesh that really changed history, really changed sci-fi for all of us. I started to say decades, but really it's still going on. That TOS still changes everything. But once they realized that there's this extreme fandom of sci-fi Star Trek, And even, even I'll give a shout out to Star Wars too, that brought more people in. They started to get higher and higher level of talent, and they've got,
Mm,
by the time we get to what they were doing in the 80s and 90s, we have a higher level of talent. Not that I'm saying everyone in TOS, they're absolutely talented, but I think they were undiscovered talent, and now that you move forward into the 80s and 90s, and they've got real talent because those people who are maybe undiscovered at the, during TOS when they were cast for these roles were actually amazing, and it brought the whole thing forward, and people were just begging for more. So they give them, and they get even higher, more and more talent for it. And so we end up with these great products that we get now.
yeah, exactly. There's one other thing I'd like to ask you. Um,
Yes.
of course, we know Uhura, but there are now, what is it? Yeah, two more Uhuras. What do you think about them?
Oh, wow. Wait. Okay. What do I think about the new Ahuras? I have watched. I'm very into Strange New Worlds, and I'm very into.
Mm,
I love how that dynamic's going. I
mm.
am not an Abrams fan. I see where
No,
he is
me
going, and
neither.
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to negative him at all. But I did not care for that
Yeah.
series of films at all. I did watch them and kind of, that's on a personal level, cringed and
Mm,
wrote them off. That's not, they didn't
I
work for
know.
me. They didn't. So, but I appreciate the people who do love them. I do understand the loving of continuing the story. Well, we're backtracking the story and stuff. Um, I do really, really love Strange New Worlds. I love that Ahura, and I think
Yeah.
that she carries the same weight that
Yeah.
the original series that Nichelle did. I think that she's carrying it very, very well, and I respect it a great deal. She's doing very well with it.
Yeah. I really agree to that. And like you, I'm not really a fan of the J.J. Abrams movies, but okay, I must say, it's not getting negative about Zoe, who played the Uhura in the
Oh,
J.J.
yes.
Abrams. She's a terrific actress. That is not
Oh, she's wonderful. She's absolutely beautiful, and she does pull it off. She does
yeah,
know, she is a great actress in my opinion, just mine, not anybody else's, in my opinion, a really bad script. But that's just me. But she does a great job with it. She does.
yeah. That's also the other thing about the documentary. Um, if you could recommend this to teachers all over the world to watch this documentary with the kids, would you recommend it?
I absolutely 100,000% would absolutely recommend it. Not only, I absolutely, yes, yes, hands down, I would recommend the documentary to classrooms, because it I'm going to tell you something that hopefully Captain Watson won't watch this, but when I showed him the documentary, he cried. And
Hmm.
he is a white male, obviously, but it touches everybody on some level.
It
It's
is.
not, it's absolutely, I would recommend it. So it won't just touch your female children, it won't just touch your minority children, it will touch all of your children. It's because it shows what we are all capable of. We can do it. We can be this. We can do this. We just push forward and do every day the very best we can do.
I think there's a lot of lessons from that documentary, not only for children but also for grown-ups. And
Yes.
I think they should show this to every network and just, yeah, recommend for everyone to watch it because it is not only important in what Nisha Nichols did as a woman, but also in just lesson in life what we really need to learn. And there are, like, I think I don't want to say old people, but I mean like there are people who are still closing their eyes for social problems in a way, and that's what I always loved about TOS and TNG. Gene Roddenberry always makes sure he put lessons in the episodes, and he put very subjects in that we all are cringing by, but he said we need to address this because otherwise society will go down under.
I completely agree. When you have it in front of you, you can't deny it. It's right in front of you, and you need to see it. And as far as like showing it in high school, middle school, college classes, yes, you need to see what's in front of you. And even if you think we're past that, which I don't think we are past it
Mm.
completely, but we're working towards it. This reminds you why we're working towards it. And it also encourages you to be, can we be Nichelle Nichols? Can you be
Mm.
that person who stands up and goes, well, wait a minute. If they're not good enough for you, can they be good enough for us? Yes, they can. We all can. We absolutely can. And yes, absolutely. I think they should show it in all the classrooms. I don't think I can't imagine there would be any problem with showing it anywhere.
No, but I think so. It's like I said, there is so much teaching and learning about it. Is that I think this will be more open subjects to talk about.
Absolutely. And if you feel like you're at the point where you're in the most open mind you can be, this will open you even further to go, wait, that's true. Wait, are you doing everything you can to change humanity, not the world? Everybody talks about changing. I'm gonna conquer the
No,
world and change the world. No,
no,
we change humanity first. And
yeah,
that's exactly what she did. She
change.
worked her entire life to change humanity.
I think it's not changing humanity, but changing the thinking of humanity. How
Exactly. Yes.
and
I'm sorry if I misspoke that, but
no,
yes, that's
that's
exactly
fine.
what
That's
I
fine.
mean.
It's just like and I think that's very important in this from this documentary. It is so much of a big deal what she's putting just in that documentary. It's insane how much she put into it and how many and much subjects there is in there and how much you can get inspiration to think differently.
Oh, absolutely. If you watch this documentary and you didn't get inspiration from it, then you fell asleep while you were watching it because it absolutely will push you to be more than you are, to be a better person because anyone can. She at the low point of her career, she had resigned, and then one person came up and said, "No, you've got to see the bigger picture." And I think and I'm circling back to what I said before. We all get so fishholed into what is going on for us. You have to open up and see the bigger picture.
Mm.
What can you do to open the picture up? What can you do to make it bigger? I do think that's a lot of what well, that's what I got out of the documentary.
So, is there anything you can have find in the documentary that you say, okay, this is my eye opener or my comfort, what I got from the documentary, for example, in your own life?
In my own life, I really have to go back to every time I watch it, and I've watched it, a couple of times, but every time I watch it, there's time between when I watch it, and it's new, and it's actually invigorating. Please go watch it. So all of your listeners, please go watch it. I can't put into words what it will do for you, how it will change you. It just shows you the possibility. But in my own life, yes, and I have no choice. I'm sorry, but the biggest thing that I do in my life is I work with this Pathfinder group which is it's a Star Trek group, and we post digital comic books, for lack of a better term. They're called meme-isodes. They're live action, and we're in them. But what we do is when we go to the conventions, we pull people in and we assure them, you can be part of this. We bring everything they need. And that gives me a great deal of satisfaction. And just having watched the documentary is like, I can make a difference, even if it's just one day in the lives of these people that come in. We put them in uniforms, we put them in our meme-isodes, and they become part of our permanent book. That, is one episode after. It's episodic, and we enjoy it. In fact, that's why I was late today, so I apologize for that. Thank you for being flexible about that. But we were shooting photos for our meme-isodes. And so to that end, then yes, what can I do in my life? And yes, the documentary does ask you, what can you do in your life to not only move yourself forward, but to move humanity forward? And I like to think that I bring those people that day of joy. What you may not know. Can I share a little personal information, if you don't mind, Orinda?
Sure.
Okay. I am a retired medic. I worked for 20 years on what we call 911. I'm not sure. Are you 211?
Yeah.
411? I can't remember.
Yeah, 112. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I do. That's what I did for many, many years. And unfortunately, my knees can't take it anymore. I tore up my knees on working. And so I miss that a great deal, but that same feeling that I get of helping people in emergency situations, I get from helping people to feel this. And that's the best I can do for me. And I get a great deal of joy out of that.
I can imagine that, yeah, because I cosplay too, and I thought it was Destination Star Trek Birmingham 2018, I believe. And my first ever Star Trek cosplay was just Dr. Crusher. But when I went to Destination Star Trek in 2018, I actually met Gage McFadden.
That's awesome. I love her. Oh,
have you ever listened to her podcast?
Yes. Yeah.
I love her podcast.
Okay.
But what I was saying, so that was in 2018. I met her, but I also had a steampunk version of Dr. Crusher, and I wore that at the time. And of course, I got my tap shoes with me. And when she saw my outfit, she wanted to have a selfie with her on her phone cell. And she said, "This has never been occurred to me. I always hated the dancing doctor, but you make it special." And the funny part was, at that moment, I was also with one of the tap group. Everyone was in cosplay, so there was a moment that we said, okay, we're going to perform. And so we did that, and I was for that piece the lead dancer. And when we were just got to start, they all called my name. "Where's the dancing doctor? Where's the dancing doctor?" so it started, and you could see that Gays were really, really enjoying that. And she said, "Now you're making the dancing doctor something positive for me." And
that's awesome. I would love to see pictures of that. That's amazing. That is amazing. Wow.
So, that's those, and we are going to start for conventions, etc. But let me tell you guys, the Star Trek community is very relaxed, and it doesn't matter if you have a cosplay on or not. You all are welcome. You all you will be treated like equals and respectful. And I always have the feeling it is one big family. That's
absolutely.
That is one of the reasons.
And everyone comes in, and initially they're like, "I want to be the captain or the admiral." okay, you can do that. You whatever you want to do. But they end up being, whatever fits. And yeah, it's a very understanding community, and it's very wonderful. And I'm really thrilled to have it part of my life. I'm sure you are
Yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. I
Yes.
think for a lot of fans, Star Trek, Star Trek have helped them through really dark periods of their lives. And I can speak
I
for myself.
I can absolutely agree, and I'm not speaking for myself. No, I don't want I wouldn't, but I can tell you I have interacted with people who have used Star Trek to get ahead of their own darkness.
Mm,
So it's absolutely an uplifting experience. It absolutely is therapeutic, in my opinion.
yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
I always say, if you're down or depressed for a day, put on some Star Trek and you will feel better.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. When we went into COVID lockdown, which I'm sure I
Mm,
know you did too, we all did.
mm,
We made it a we made a conscious decision that Pathfinder would not fall to COVID. And so we bought for our cruise green screens, and we had them
mm,
send pictures so we could keep it going, because you have to have that outlet. And in
yeah,
fact, there were many. First of all, we couldn't see any of the crew for a long time, so we were just sending each other these pictures, and then our production would put them all together, so we were able to maintain Pathfinder through COVID. And it felt like, and for me at least, it felt like there was some hold on to the world at that point, to life how I wanted it to be, how it was supposed to be. And we came out on the other side. We had already produced two memisodes during COVID, from just slicing those pictures together, which normally, of course, we prefer to have them all together at the
mm,
same time. We prefer to get together and get like we're doing today, which I have, a little bit of time before I start shooting again. But during that time, we kind of pride ourselves that we kept it going. And we've had our crew members say, this was all I had to do, was
it
Star
is.
Trek.
Yeah,
This was it.
yeah.
And it really made it, it made me feel good for them, but it made me feel good for me, because I also only had Star Trek to do.
I
when
think a lot of people, a lot of Star Trek fans have that same feeling and same thought as well. Cause, yeah, like I said, Star Trek always brighten up my day, but also it's a community. I always said, okay, I like to be there, not only wearing a uniform or whatever, and that is what for me it is. I always wanted to be in the Navy, but I'm too small, so I never get
I am
into.
too. How tall are you? You don't have
I
to tell
think
me.
for you is I think it is 4.8, 4 feet 8.
Oh, I'm 4'11", so I'm very short too. Yes, I
All
totally
right.
get that. I have
Okay,
to alter all my
you're going to
clothes.
I'm going
Yes.
to throw the going to go to the screen numbers now and give you a virtual hug.
Oh, you've seen my pictures on Facebook. Those
mm,
uniforms, I have to make them for myself.
yeah.
I made all of them. I can't, but I'm a seamstress too. That was, my mother gave me that. So,
Mm,
yeah, in fact, I'm making uniforms for three of our crew members right now.
I can relate to that. It is very yeah. I can relate
It's
to that.
frustrating. Everything has to be
Yeah.
adjusted. Yes.
Well, my mom always said you better can make it shorter than if you are too tall and there's always no much fabric to make it longer. That's
Right,
what she always
exactly.
said.
It's easier to
Yeah.
make it shorter than make it longer. There's no more fabric. So I guess I'm lucky in that point, but I also know I've spent a lot of time making a lot of clothes and cosplays and dresses
Mm,
and uniform. That's what I do. It's my off time thing. So there you go, a
mm,
little tidbit of me. I sew a lot.
that's nice to know. Um, Is there anything else you'd like to add about the documentary, Sophia?
The only thing I would add is please watch it. There's literally nothing we can say that will be as impactful as what the documentary itself does. Please go watch it. It's free on YouTube. It's an hour and 36 minutes long, and I guarantee you it's worth that time to watch it.
Exactly, I agree to that with fully. And yeah, I think you guys will be like us touched what she has done, and you get a bigger picture now what she really have done for the whole community on Earth.
Absolutely, humanity in general. That's absolutely. If you'll allow me, I'll do a quick plug for Pathfinder because we're doing a photo shoot today. So I really need,
Yeah,
if you're okay
sure.
with that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find us on Star Trek Pathfinder. We mostly tour around the state of Texas, sometimes Louisiana. But we're open to others who are willing to send us the particular shots. And our tagline is let us put you on a starship, and that's what we do is we put people on a starship. We don't care at all about your race, creed, motto, sexual orientation. We're all one, and we enjoy it very much. We take all of our uniforms with us. All of our casting uniforms are there for anyone who shows up at the conventions, or if you happen to have one and you want to send us a green screen picture, we will put you on a starship.
Nice, and that would be great. I think for a lot of fans, and I mean, there are some fans who are very shy, and I think putting themselves into a Starfleet uniform, it's like acting in a way because she can be another one of somebody else that you can into and be, and that's what I love about cosplay. You don't have to be cosplaying as a character, but you can cosplay. And I must say, guys, there are some very very good cosplayers, and I think one of the great ones from Star Trek is she named herself on Twitter Sound of Cosplay, and
Yes.
she did most of the time she's cosplaying Lieutenant Stamets from Discovery, but she is so good. That is
Oh,
really
absolutely. Yes.
she could be his stand-in double, I guess. But she also did a very good Laurel when I thought it was about Destination Star Trek 2020. She was invited at Destination Star Trek, and she was in a panel for cosplay and how she made it, etc. And she didn't came as Stamets, but she came as Laurel, and that was awesome. I will see if I can find the number from the Rat Pack for you, and I will see if I can find this because I think I also have a picture of or a video of her. So I will send you that too.
Terrific. That's great. That's great.
Well, Sophia,
So if
thank you.
anyone needs to, no, I appreciate it. If anyone needs to reach me, I'm a Sophia Cast on Facebook. That's the best way to reach me is on Facebook. You can also look up Star Trek Pathfinder. That's where I am as well.
Well,
On
yeah,
Facebook.
guys. Yeah. Well, Sophia, thank you very much for joining me and talk about the great Nichelle Nichols and, of course, the documentary of hers. And
Absolutely.
we
She is she's an absolute icon for us. Even and her unfortunate passing in July, it was extremely sad. It really hit pretty hard. I'm very grateful that she's no longer in pain. I truly am. But we definitely lost a lot that day.
Yeah, she has been doing her job and work and the things she loves till a very late age, and I think not many people can say that what she has been doing. And We lost a great icon and a great example. But
Absolutely. Example for who we all should try to be, which is our best self. That's all she ever wanted was do what I believe what all she ever wanted was to for all of us to be our best selves. Don't be afraid. Step forward. You can do it.
and that, guys, is the end of this episode. Well, Sophia, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And it was a very nice conversation about great Star Trek things, but also just Nichelle Nichols. I hope you enjoyed it.
I absolutely did. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening and join me next time for a new extra episode in the Star Trek series of Orenda Talks. You can listen, subscribe and comment to Orenda Talks on the YouTube channel or join the Facebook group. I also like to tell you about my other podcast called Girls Talking Trek. Girls Talking Trek is a podcast hosted by two female trackers who will recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek, starting with TNG. All the episodes will be recapped in chronically following. Girls Talking Trek is also to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music or on your favorite podcast app. We also have Facebook group and YouTube channel. Every 10th episode will be a video episode so you guys can see us when we talk about the episode. If you'd like to comment on the episode or talk with us about the Star Trek episodes we just recapped, you can reach out on the Facebook group or the YouTube channel. I also have a new YouTube channel called #LittleDutchie. On this channel I will react on typical UK things and will explain more typical Dutch things. So like, subscribe and hit the notification button to keep on track on the Little Dutch YouTube channel and have some fun. And of course, you can get some more knowledge of my Dutch and Indonesian heritage. I'll see you next time.